Welcome back
What
to your
up,
90s
girl?
prom covered dish, the show where we
Oh
cook
my
it up
God,
and
you
eat
are
it.
the serving of the 90s prom look. Give us a stand, have a stand, give us something. I wore this dress to date dance with John Kirchgraber in 2001.
Oh my
Shouts to
gosh.
John Kirchgraber wherever he is.
TBT.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing. Give us what is that? It's that spaghetti strap with that straight neckline.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Square
you're
neck.
serving my adolescent dish is what you're serving.
It's sort of like training bra or chaperone. It's kind of both. And I
Oh
am
my God, it is.
Yeah, so I am chaperoning tonight, you may recall, so make sure to leave room for Jesus on the bus because we have to get you back. We have to get you back to your parents by 9 p.m.
Oh, I love that. Look at that pattern.
Let me get this chair out of the way with my grandma blanket because it gets cold down here.
Girl.
Okay, so check this print. I got this at Ohio Thrift for like $5 and it came with a matching sash.
Of course it did. A sash.
A sash. So, you might get cold, you can wrap it around your shoulders. I like to do this sort of moment, which sort of like
love that.
harkens back to, mid-century burlesque vibes. I also like to tie it and around my neck and sort of let the long ends go behind. I think that's kind of chic.
Oh, very like, in a convertible.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know what
so
I
they
mean?
flap. They flap like a driving scarf, exactly. Or if you want to make it real beachy and put a hat on. Oh, excuse me. How indiscreet. You could put on a hat and tie this as the sash around the hat, which I like to do a lot too. So it's an extra piece of fabric, very versatile. Ladies, it's a good thing to do to yourself.
An extra piece of fabric is versatile for you. I just would like to point this out. Welcome to everyone else on the dish. I am wearing the turtleneck I wore to my new job, and I haven't had time to change.
Yes, new job.
But wait,
snaps.
I did cover dish it up.
Dish it up.
Because we're talking about long-term relationships today, I wore the Daisy Dukes I used to wear gardening.
Yes,
in
ma'am.
my long-term relationships. So
yes,
just a little
ma'am. Come through, thigh tattoos.
Girl, we gotta just move.
This deserves the dish cam. You on the dish cam for this one, girl. Shameful.
So these are my gardening Daisy Dukes. I keep them around in case we're getting sedentary and I need to plant an herb garden. You know
plant an herb, just a single herb.
Just one herb. So I like to keep them around. They keep things spicy yet casual, which is so important as we talk about keeping the spice alive, girl.
Absolutely. So is that I love a ribbed high neck. Is that a bodysuit?
It is a bodysuit. And you know what?
America needs to know.
Plot twist. I've been really getting into bodysuits, and I know I'm in Florida in the summer, but honestly, the AC is so cold here that it's either a tank top and a cardigan.
You go from base camp to base camp.
Cardigans make me look like Marion the librarian. And if you have any recommendations on how to sex up a cardigan, I'm here for it. I don't need to look like Jessica Rabbit, but I look absurd. So next week, your challenge is make cardigans sexy. You can make anything sexy. But I like these because they're thin enough that I can be outside. And then if I'm inside, I can just kind of add a scarf or something. But I don't need a lot because also never wore a bodysuit to work before. A lot more time in the bathroom. Everyone is going to think I have something going on. Because you got to do the snails. So, it's a trade-off, but fashion is worth it.
Fashion is, hey, pretty hurts Beyonce. And jumpsuits are kind of or bodysuits are kind of like jumpsuits where you have to get naked to pee. But, you make it work because it takes a little extra time. And at least you don't have to get, really naked. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You just have to build in a little extra time between stops in the night. So maybe don't go to the bathroom after the check has come and you're ready to move on to the next destination. Just build in a couple more minutes for yourself. Set yourself up for success.
Girl, don't I know it.
Bring a matching piece of fabric.
Or just get a magic piece. Just turn it into a hat. So my favorite part about Eileen Galvin, and then we'll get into the actual dish. This is the actual dish, by the way. So my favorite part of Eileen is she will buy things, and I've said this on the dish before, she will buy things from all different parts of her life. And she will find a way to bring them all together. So You got this at Ohio Thrift for $5.
You mean like this?
But then you have this that like goes with it perfectly. Glitter, everything, the hue. Where would you put it in your snood? Where did this come from?
Snood. Ooh. Plus 20 points for snood.
Yes.
Where did this come from?
Yeah.
This came from Joann Fabrics in the silk flowers section.
But how long have you had it? And then you bought this piece like recently and then put them together.
Yeah,
That's the magic.
I bought this piece this weekend and it's a monochromatic purple look. So I was like, do I have any purple flowers? Yes, I do. So that's how that came together. I bought this for an event in Chicago called Queer Apocalypse, which is an amazing drag comedy burlesque show that no longer exists. And I'm pretty sure I got this in 2015 because I remember when we did Mine Hair on stage and I put this in my, this was in a bowler hat. And I plucked it right out of there and stuck it in this gown.
We love a little Fosse.
Fashion's a journey.
Martha Graham. Okay, anyways.
And then true to form, because, I'm very femme with, like, one touch of what's going on. Like, very femme with one touch of is she okay? That's why I'm drinking this land grant pool party. Not just because this is what I'm trying to manifest for my summer 2021. By the way, if anyone has a pool party and they're looking for extra guests, you give me a little jingle. But also, I just love the absurdity of, like, looking like a prom guest and drinking beer out of a can. It's my favorite thing.
Oh, no. But this is peak chaperone. You just wrapped up. You just got home. And you're like, I need a fucking beer.
Yeah.
Which, who doesn't after chaperoning prom?
I said no body to body over there, kids.
Leave room for the Holy Spirit.
Leave room for the Holy Spirit, exactly.
Talk to me. When we originally talked, we were talking about, of course, a salsa because we're keeping things spicy, even in long-term relationships. And you said, I'm going to make a mango salsa. And I'm like, great, forgetting that I'm in a tropical paradise. I literally have mangoes falling down around me.
Why didn't you ship some to me, Brooke?
Because they would have gone bad. They're very sensitive. They're like femmes. They're very mercurial and very delicious.
They're like femmes. They drop a contact down the drain and then it's just screaming for the rest of the day. You have to cancel all your plans.
Cancel your plans. But then you were like, oh, I have to switch it because literally I'm America's breadbasket and there are no mangoes.
Yeah, I didn't check that Columbus, Ohio would just have mangoes at my beck and call. So I had to change it to peach salsa. But, let's get right into it. And I figured they're pretty much the same, right? Mangoes and peaches, whatever. I have no idea how this is going to turn out because this is a recipe that was designed for mangoes. But it's very pretty.
Ooh, zoom it in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Girl, that is beautiful.
Yeah, and it's so simple.
And is it just with chips on the side?
Yeah, so you can put it with any chip. I think, listen, if you put this with sour cream or vegan sour cream, kazoons. If you put this with like sour cream or vegan sour cream and then some kind of a meat or like an avocado if you want to keep it vegan, this would be a great thing to put on tacos. It's it tastes a little bit like a pico de gallo to me.
Yeah. Ooh, so what's in it?
So it's so simple. It's so simple. It's so simple. Anyone can do it. You just take a jalapeno and a red bell pepper, a little bit of red onion, cilantro, lime juice, and then mangoes or peaches if you can't find a mango in a pinch. And then you just chop them all up and mix them together. Or if you have a food processor and you really don't have any time, you can throw them all in a food processor and pulse it a few times until you get to about this level of granularity, this size. And this is more like a pico, less like a salsa, but the peaches I got were also not completely ripe, so I had to add a little bit of extra sugar.
Right.
And pulse it a little bit more to get more of the liquid out of them. And then it felt more like the wetness of salsa, if that makes sense.
Love it. All right, give us a taste.
Oh my gosh. It's so good, and it has, it's the lime juice and the salt that really give it that, it releases all the stuff from the fruit. It kind of breaks things down a little bit. It makes it very summery and fresh.
And, for those of you out there, and we like to be very respectful on the dish, we don't want to just, not include anyone who hates cilantro. Because some people really have an aversion. I feel like a basil would be a good sub.
Yeah. There's a lot of herbs that can be substituted for a different experience.
Yeah.
Like, girl, we were on the Zeta Bites LGBTQ.
Yes, shouts to Zeta Bites. We love it.
I was gonna call it a social hour, like it's 1953. What are those? What is it called? Networking event. We were an LGBTQ networking event.
It's a social hour. Mm-hmm. It's from 2 to 4.
So that everyone can get home early. And we made a mojito, a virgin mojito cocktail, which is traditionally with mint, but if you use basil as a substitute, still fresh, still very herbal, and it's just a different experience. So if you don't like cilantro, you could just switch it out for a basil.
Love it. Love to see it. Well, girl, let's get into the real dish tonight, which is keeping things spicy in long-term relationships. I feel like I am with the queen of spice tonight, Eileen Galvin, who's been in a relationship now for over 10 years, keeping things spicy. So I have to turn it to you.
Spicy decade. Girl.
Spicy decade, yo!
Spicy decade. Well, contrary to what you might think, it doesn't have anything to do with performance or burlesque or any of that stuff, because let's start off with my partner's a gay man, so it's actually like he likes the pageantry as much as anyone else, but this is not actually part of our romantic dynamics. It's not part of our love language. This is just sort of like, I just do this for me, which I think is not surprising for a lot of queer people because of the expansive gender dynamics that a lot of queer relationships necessarily go through.
For sure.
But for a lot of heteronormative relationships, when I've talked about it, it's like, oh, your partner's such a lucky guy, or it's usually husband. We're not married, but that's fine. And it's like, actually, no, this is sort of like,
actually, he's not lucky. No, he.
People lied to him several times. They said that he was sexy and fly and beautiful, and he's nothing of the sort.
He's nothing. No, I get that. I think, we have exaggerated versions of our public selves, right?
Yeah.
Exaggerated. And I would say for both of us, hypersexualized, different. It's very different, obviously. But comedy, I was talking with another comedian who identifies as a woman, and we were chatting. And we were talking about how, even it doesn't matter what comedian is on stage. Like, part of you, you see someone and you're like, oh, I wonder how they, like your brain goes there. We're just humans and we're sexual beings. And it's not like I'm like, oh, I need everyone to want to fuck me. But like, there is a sex appeal to going on stage and doing what you love and being good at it, right? Like, we know that. That's just a thing. So who you are off stage, I think a lot of times people are like, they'll say that to my partners, you know what I mean? They're like, oh my God, it's just like one nonstop comedy show. And you know what I mean? And my partner will be like, it's so annoying. No, you know what I mean? Or like, actually, no, like she comes home and shuts down and shuts off, and recovers with me. And sometimes the moments of my recovery from stage are my favorite with my partners, because I just feel like they're so precious and I feel really vulnerable and I do really need to recoil and take care of myself. And to have someone who gets that is really great. And that's the risk of dating a fan. Anyways, that's another episode.
Yeah, there's kind of two broad categories that I'm thinking about, which are relationship fulfillment and relationship excitement. And for me, the fulfillment piece is kind of, actually, they're both connected to being romantic. Like, people talk about it like,
right.
How do you do romantic things for each other? And for me, there's two different types of romantic. There's the fulfilling type, and then there's the exciting type. And sometimes they blend together, right? So the fulfilling type for me is like, hey, I've been having a really hard month, or maybe series of months, as the case may be. And so the kinds of things that are relationship fulfilling to me are recognizing, but also asking, because we're not mind readers. It bears repeating on the dish.
Right.
But talking about, do you need space by yourself? Can we spend time together? What level of physical contact do you want right now? Because that comes and goes for me. Like, if I'm having a pretty bad bout of depression, there are times where I don't really want to be touched. So we've figured out those kinds of things throughout the course of our relationship. So maybe it's like, oh, I would like to sit and watch a movie with you. okay, what kind of movie do you watch? Well, my anxiety
Right.
is a little high, so I don't want to watch anything. Like, I'm not up for a Jason Statham movie. Jason. But,
Yeah,
but
but I think that's.
but I would like to
But
watch something like maybe a cartoon or, you know, something that's animated, something that's a little bit like less anxiety
intense.
inducing. And then like just be near me, but maybe physical contact is not the thing right now. So it just kind of depends. So that's the fulfilling piece. And you were going to say something before I get to the exciting piece.
Well, I guess I want to pause and say
Mhm.
what you all just shared, what you shared is all really, really great. And the biggest component to that and the success of your relationship is knowing yourself and what you need. Because I think
Yeah.
that's right. So like I get that, but like I sometimes have conflicting things where I'm like, oh, I know what I need, but like, what does my partner need? Right. And I have to weigh that. And it's like, well, if you really want to watch this super heavy Black Panther documentary, maybe
Yeah.
I'll step it up, right? But maybe I can't, and I have to say it. And I think sometimes when we're socialized in certain ways, we don't. We kind of put our partner's needs before our own. And I think what was really beautiful about that is like, you know, that is giving your partner an opportunity to fulfill what you need. Like you are inviting your partner into your needs and saying, this is what I need, you know, and one of those things that is important in that step is knowing and doing the work on yourself to know, you know what, this is what I need. And I can express it in a way that's healthy. That's not like, I just need to be alone. Leave me the fuck alone. Right. Cause that's how it could come out. And one of my exes always used to say, like if someone said something like that, they did, oh, it came out sideways because the intention, you probably needed a long time. Right. But it came out the wrong way. You know what I mean? And I really always love that. So I love that fulfillment piece. And I love how casually you're like, well, I just know what I say I need and I express it. And I'm like, all relationships would be so perfect if that, you know what I mean? Because I think that is hard sometimes.
Yeah, thank you. No, it is hard, and I'm not perfect with it. I mean, there's been times where things have definitely come out sideways, and what I meant to say was I am not doing so great internally, and so I need to just be by myself and like
Right.
just kind of sit with myself for a while. But what's happening, the context of that statement is like, we have to be somewhere because we agreed to be somewhere. And
Right.
what I'm really saying is, I can't do it. I don't have enough spoons to make this happen right now. And so I'm going to need to stay home. And that's going to put you in an imposition because now you have to go and do it by yourself. So, like, there's all these
Right.
complicated things. It's not.
Also, what
like,
is the metaphor you used about spoons? I'm sorry, I just want to go back, Midwest lady. What was that?
Oh, spoons. So Dom told us about this in a previous dish, which is spoons is a common metaphor used for the amount of resources that you have to deal with various situations.
Yes, that's what it was. I knew
Yeah.
it was from the dish and I couldn't remember. Shouts to Dom.
Yes. So it's like, do I have enough spoons to handle this situation? Maybe I don't have the resources right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Feel free to comment if you don't have the resources right now. JK, none of us do. And then what is the second piece? The excitement piece. I know
Yeah,
what
so the excitement piece is kind of like, it reminds me of the Cosmo magazine article. Are you looking to spice things up in the bedroom? And
Right.
it's like that also just is communication to me. Like,
Right.
talk about what makes you excited. Like, what do you think is sexy and attractive? And a big piece of... So, Brooke, tell me, is it okay in a relationship for you to be like, oh, wow, look at that person, aren't they sexy, with your partner?
Yes.
I think so, too.
And I will say, yes, and.
Yes, and.
It definitely, when we're in a good space, yes. And I think there's a lot of pre-work that goes with that, I think. But yes, generally. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and also along those lines, I like to talk about the sexy, fun, and exciting adult films that I like to watch because
The adult film.
the adult films, because I think that's kind of like, and you know, we're both nerds, like we're both complete dorks, so we like to process things and think about why do I think that student teacher fantasy is exciting? You know what I mean? Like that kind of the priest nun thing, which was that example from that Netflix show. I forget which one. It's like Feeling Good or something. That's kind of interesting stuff to get into too, because it tells you something about your partner, it tells you something about yourself, and then it's like, oh, is that? And then that naturally leads to, is that something you want to try out? You know what I mean? And then
Right.
the point is, like, it's trial and error. If you get to know someone for long enough, hopefully you feel comfortable enough to try things with them that don't necessarily feel like, I'm not an expert at this, I'm trying it for the first time.
Right.
But we'll try it out, and if it doesn't work out, we can just laugh about it.
Well, and I think that's the other piece of, even, you know, obviously you can talk about it and you can say, oh yeah, no, I want to be able to say I think someone's hot, right? But if you try it and it doesn't go well, that doesn't mean you just dive right into the boiling hot water. You have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I love the exciting part of falling in love. I always have. I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm very aware of that, you know, but the fulfillment part, just I love that delineation, because the fulfillment fills me up so much more deeply. You know, I'm laughing because, of course, like, my partner did something really cute for me after my first day of work, which was they bought me a bunch of produce, which is very strange for anyone who doesn't know me. But if you know me, that's like very romantic. They got me avocados and sweet potatoes and a bottle of wine and balloons. But like,
but you love fresh ingredients and you love to cook, so that makes total sense.
Exactly. And I'm just like, if anyone else was like, yeah, I got my girl two avocados and a sweet potato, like, you know what I mean? But I thought it was just so thoughtful, and like that was one of those beautiful combinations, right, of kind of fulfillment and excitement.
Yeah. I'm picturing that vine of the kid unwrapping the avocado for Christmas, and he's like, "It's an avocado. Thanks."
Yes, but I'm like, yeah, it's great. So, but I like that delineation, and I think as relationships go on, a long-term relationship, there's more and more of those fulfillment moments. And I think it feeds into the excitement moments, right? Because she wouldn't have been able to do that for me if she didn't know me well enough to do that.
Yeah.
Early on, maybe I would have gotten a dozen roses and a bottle of wine and chocolate. And again, all sounds great. No hate on that. It still fulfills that excitement piece. But there's almost this pull through over time, because your partner knows the things that also deeply fulfill you. And I think they bleed into each other.
They do.
You know,
frequently. By the way, Denise is here. Denise! Denise says that that we are refilling her cup by being here with us, and so thank you so much, Denise. If I can offer a brief tarot tie-in, I am our resident tarot nerd here. Whenever I get the Ace of Cups upside down, I always think of this image of my cup being depleted, or I think of like my reservoir for extroverting getting depleted, and then I have to do things that sort of recharge it. And so yeah, that just makes me think of that imagery, Denise, of when you get the Ace of Cups upside down, it's like you got to tip it back over and figure out how to fill it back up.
No, so, we love it.
But Eileen, fulfilling relationship moments, that those sometimes lead into the sexy moments, because to me, if someone just gets it, they just get what's fulfilling to me, it becomes really sexy, really quick.
Very sexy.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh, we went out this morning and we did one thing, and it's just like, man, do you have the energy to do anything? Like, no. Do you want to just like get back in bed for a while? Yes. And then it's just like, oh my God, we're on such a wavelength, and then it's a wrap.
So funny. Okay, this is like ridiculous, but yeah. I really didn't want to go light fixture shopping.
You didn't?
I know.
Go with me. You know about our Home Depot odysseys.
Oh my God, I know. So she's like, hey, do you want to go to a lighting store and just like browse lighting? I'm like, no, that sounds like an absolute nightmare. So it was the day before, it was Sunday. So I was like, I have food prep to do. I want to get started for the week. I want to lay out my outfits. I'm a little bit of like a dork when it comes to prepping stuff. Like, I need to pack a lunch every day. I'm just kind of a tool. So I'm like, no, like, and then I walked away and I like recalculated stuff. And I was like, all right, I have some frozen meal, like soup I can thaw and pack tomorrow, and I can do this, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I reorganized my life a little bit. And I came back and I was like, actually, let's go browse for lighting. And we had an amazing time. We got an amazing deal. A Midwest for life, y'all. And then
Hallmark of a true Midwesterner.
I was like, this is clearance. We got to get it. And then we went to the ocean and had like fish sandwiches on the beach. Like, I'm you know, and again, it did not serve my waistline necessarily or my prep for Monday morning or whatever, but it served something much more deeply between us. And I have a million of those moments. I'm not, you know what I mean? I think that was a moment where I had to recalibrate. Like I knew myself and I knew what I wanted my day to be. And it's like, oh, Penny. She got him. Penny is very against long-term relationships. No, come here.
Get him, Penny.
But I think that's, you know, they're also, that is a give, right? And that sounds like an amazing day, but no. Okay, hold on.
Claps for Penny. You know, sometimes it's sort of a bargain because no matter how perfect a relationship is, there's going to be times where it's like, oh, you know, I have things that I want to do too. You know what I mean? And so it's in order to deal with, to prevent kind of those little resentments from creeping in. It's like, yeah, yes, you need to go look for lighting. Let's go look for lighting. That's going to fulfill your goals. But also I need time to do some food prep. So can we swing back by the grocery store on the way home so I can just get the stuff that I need? And then suddenly it's like you're helping out each other.
Right.
And there's not always time for that, so it's not like you can do a complete one-to-one transactional correspondence. But as long as there is some give and take,
right,
and you can negotiate, you could feel like you can negotiate that openly, and it's not like, oh, I don't want to ask for another thing, or else they're gonna freak out about it. You know what I mean? That's not healthy.
Right, and I think, you know, you have to figure out everyone's tank is different levels, and everyone's ask abilities are different levels, and I think you kind of, you know, said it, like, I think there is this incredible still fatigue for people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think there's this real exhaustion and there's a lot going on. So I think even
what kind of fatigue did you say?
Just long-term fatigue.
Oh, long-term fatigue. Yeah.
And I think even if you have a partner where you're like, no, we know each other, we've been together for years. It's like, we're also kind of going through a once in a millennia pandemic. And like, maybe there is some checking in that looks a little bit different. And I think we can like learn and take that with us because like, I never thought I'd stay in the house this much in my life. I've never stayed in the house this much. And
yeah,
I think it actually, a moment of humility, would have served my long-term relationships in the past better if I'd stayed in the house a little more, right? Like, but you know, it was just every show and every this and blah, blah, blah. And being forced to take that time doesn't mean I'm going to stop. It just means I'm going to try to be a little more intentional. And I think prioritizing that long-term relationship and that fulfillment piece, you know, is lifted more to the top in moments of that stillness.
Oh, same. And I didn't even have time for myself, let alone my partner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hey, I'm sorry. I don't mean to do this, right? It's never intentional, but it's like, I have 3 rehearsals this week and then I have 2 shows next week. So it's like, where's the time? Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity to say, okay, well, what do you need? You know?
Right. Yeah.
Because we do have a little bit more time, and now that's one of the things that we can hopefully remember as we go back to a more booked schedule.
Booked indeed.
Booked and busy.
Booked indeed, girl. What are the comments saying? What is Denise saying? Denise!
What's Denise saying? Denise says it's so true. It is true, Denise. I think it was maybe in reference to the tarot thing about refilling the cup.
I love that. We need to do a live tarot reading one of these days, girl.
Oh, we should. The talking about the environment too made me remember that Mercury's still in retrograde. But
no way.
Yeah, it does it like twice a year, girl. It's so much. But
girl,
it's
twice a year? What? I thought it was once a year.
No. It does it a lot because it revolves around the sun faster than we do.
I feel like that's unfair, and I
don't really know how orbits work. But anyway, what I did read though is that Chiron, the asteroid that is the wounded healer, it's in your birth chart, is supposed to represent what your sort of long-time trauma, your lifetime trauma is, and how to address that. It's about to go in retrograde, and so I read a really interesting article about how, and that's going to be through December. It's going to be for a long time. So I read about how that's going to help us recover some of our issues from our lifetime long-term trauma. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to manifest that. I don't know what it is. I don't know how it's going to come, but cheers to that.
Girl, we love to see it with your pool party. What a wrap up. A little of the zodiac and astrology in our lives. Well, girl, you as always are a vision. We are
from
here
Chaperone Witchcraft. That's what we like to call it.
Chaperone, Miss Tarot Chaperone. We are here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So is Penny. Lo, come here. You know what? She's afraid of the balloons in the dining room. I just figured it out.
Oh, is that what it is?
Balloons.
Well,
How dare you?
it's
How
new
dare
stuff. She likes things to be very predictable and very scheduled, which,
she is
relatable
such
content.
an old man. Speaking of long-term relationships.
Long-term
Penny
loaf.
and I are 9 years and going strong.
Oh, yes. Episode 28, Long-Term Loaf.
Long-term loaf. You are a vision as always, girl. I love you so much.
Thank
We
you.
will see you all next
Likewise.
Tuesday.
We'll see you next time for the next cover dish. Remember to like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. You can watch all our past episodes. And follow us on Instagram for all of the secret, maybe not secret, behind the scenes extra director's cut edition dish.
It's secret.
And sexy. Bye. See you next time.